Right, 14 January 2025, and today I'm very excited to be giving you yet another update on all the trending news in Africa, in Zimbabwe, and in our region, the Southern Africa region. Today is one of the most important days in SADC because tomorrow is the inauguration of the Mozambican president, and Mozambique has declared a national holiday. So tomorrow in Mozambique, there will be a national holiday for the inauguration of Chapo as the president of Mozambique. However, Venancio Mondlane has successfully called for a massive nationwide strike, which started yesterday, and there was no transport in Maputo. People were not moving around, and all you could see was the empty streets in Mozambique as the MPs of Mozambique were inaugurated. So yesterday, there was a swearing-in ceremony of the Parliament of Mozambique, and as you can see, there was a boycott by MDM and Renamo. So this is the Parliament of Mozambique, and there was a boycott by MDM and Renamo. And also on the streets, there was no one, because Podemos successfully called for a massive boycott or peaceful strike around the country as we enter the inauguration period. So it's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens. This is the Parliament of Mozambique that was sworn in yesterday. And today, we're going to see a continuation of the strike. Venancio Mondlane commanding massive respect in Mozambique. Young people love Venancio Mondlane, and they follow everything that is said. So this is the Speaker of the Mozambican Parliament, all these people here who were sworn in, and Podemos is taking their place here. They are going to take their place within this parliament. They've got a massive number of MPs. MDM and Renamo have got 30 days in which the MPs can be sworn in. So there is a massive development in Mozambique. SADC totally paralyzed, unable to do anything. And the youngest Mozambican MP, 22 years old, that is the youngest Mozambican MP. Mozambique has been destroyed. The people who are leading Mozambique, Frelimo, they've taken back Mozambique to the past. This country was doing so well a few years back. During the last election, I was in Mozambique, and there was so much promise. However, because of love of power and because of Mnangagwa and rigging, Mozambique has been taken backwards, and it's no longer the country that we know. So Mozambique on the edge. Tomorrow is a very important day. You are going to see something you've never seen in Mozambique. Tomorrow, there is going to be something very big in Mozambique tomorrow. So we're all watching to see what happens in Mozambique. But yesterday already, the MPs have been sworn in, and the Parliament of Mozambique is now in place right now with a majority of Frelimo. So Frelimo has got the biggest number here inside the Parliament, and Renamo and MDM have boycotted. As you can see, those seats on the left, there is no one there. That is Mozambique. And tomorrow we see if the swearing in is going to go through. We're also waiting for the SADC elders to give their feedback. What is the recommendation that they're going to give? But that is all water under the bridge, because the swearing in will have taken over or will have taken place, and Chapo will be president. What I anticipate is that as soon as Chapo is sworn in, they are going to start shooting. So I'm expecting them to start shooting. The people are going to be cleared from the streets, and I expect a much more forceful government of Mozambique. So it's very important for Venancio Mondlane to act tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day for him to act, and all his supporters to emphatically stamp their authority and make sure that this government of Frelimo does not proceed. So the government of Frelimo, tomorrow is their last chance Podemos to make sure that this does not go on. What is going on in Mozambique is the ignoring of the people's will and the people's statement on the streets. So Frelimo is ignoring the people and they are proceeding. The moment that they sway in Chapo, you're going to see a big shift in their approach. And this is something that Podemos and Venancio Mondlane have to watch because these guys are just waiting. When Nyusi is gone, they're going to be much more forceful. And Nyusi, he said there is a need to change the model, the political model in Mozambique. So he's looking at that. And Chissano has called for people to work together and talk. So the previous presidents of the country, they wanted the situation in Mozambique to work. But I don't believe that the Frelimo guys are going to let this continue any further. So my belief is that as soon as they are sworn in, there will be a big shift in the strategy. So you're going to see a big shift in the strategy in Mozambique. And it's important for SADC to make sure that nothing bad happens over there after tomorrow's swearing in ceremony of Chapo. Right, I think I've covered that. Now let's go to the headline. And the headline is, in Zimbabwe, the Vice President of Zimbabwe, General Chiwenga, who is next in line to be the President of Zimbabwe, has been in hiding for the past 30 days. The last day that Chiwenga was seen in public was on 13 December. And after exactly 1 month, which is 13 January, Chiwenga appeared again. And Chiwenga appeared at the funeral yesterday. He presided over a funeral in Marondera. And I'm now going to show you the quick video of him speaking yesterday.
Akanga ari munhu vaibatsira vachiita zvinhu zvaunoona kuti uhu ndo unonzi hunhu. Vashoma vari muhwedza umu kana vari munharaunda dzino vasina kuya kuzosgotenga mombe pano even dzekuti vagochengeta vagoitawo matanga avo. Saka tinoti akanga ari munhu wevanhu. Ndosaka tichimuti sekuru kune magamba asiri gamba rekwedu.
Right, so that is Chiwenga over there. I don't know what to think about what happened yesterday. So yesterday we had two different events. So Mnangagwa, as usual, is refusing to go and leave. He was at State House where he met Odinga, the former, the Kenyan, what I can say, leader. They met with Mnangagwa. You can see Mnangagwa wearing a necklace. When you look at Mnangagwa, you must look very carefully. He's wearing a necklace and he was also wearing designer shoes. So you will see that they're trying to hide the designer shoes. Mnangagwa was wearing designer shoes. I was specifically looking at how he's dressed. So he's trying to dress down. That is the only thing that Mnangagwa has done. He has removed his tie, but he's keeping his scarf. That is a ritual that Mnangagwa always performs. So he was at State House. Mohadi is nowhere to be found. Mohadi back on oxygen. You can't find him anywhere. And obviously, this is significant. This is significant because what is going to happen when Chiwenga comes into office is Mnangagwa going to continue coming into the office because Chiwenga is able-bodied. So he's going to be in the office of the president. Is Mnangagwa going to be coming back to the office? And by the way, the reason why Odinga was in Zimbabwe is because he wants to be the chairman of the African Union Commission. And SADC has got a candidate in there of Madagascar. So I don't know what Mnangagwa is going to do if he's going to support the Kenyan candidate instead of the SADC candidate. I don't think so. But very significant, this should have been Mohadi here, or this should have been Chiwenga, but Mnangagwa refusing to leave. Mnangagwa is always going to be coming to the office. He's very paranoid that someone is going to make a coup on him. when he's not there. So let's see. Next Monday is very significant. Chiwenga has come out. He's starting to set himself up for next week so that he can be in the office. He's circling now. Let's see if Chiwenga manages to do anything and surprise Mnangagwa. People are waiting to see what happens when Chiwenga is now the president. What is going to happen for the next, let's say, 11 days? So 19 to the 31st, those are Chiwenga's days. What can Chiwenga do during those days? Many people are very excited to see that. But Odinga looking good. I think Odinga is looking good as an opposition leader and also looking outside of Kenya for opportunities. He's 80 years old. I wonder why 80-year-old guys want to be in these offices. They should be leaving this to the youngsters, but they don't want to leave. They want to be in African Union. They want to be all over the place. I think the African Union needs younger people, and I wonder when we're going to get younger people in these organizations. But 80 years old, and he wants to be the chairman of African Union Commission. So he's in Zimbabwe, or he was in Zimbabwe yesterday. Raila Odinga. I also didn't see him meeting Nelson Chamisa. I know that previously Odinga was meeting members of the opposition, but I didn't see any pictures or tweets of himself with Nelson Chamisa. So it's very strange. I would have expected him to make a call on Chamisa yesterday. And I've looked on all the platforms of Nelson Chamisa. He's not over there. In fact, Chamisa did not tweet yesterday, and he did not update on the Chamisa News channel. I didn't see any update from Chamisa over there. Now, let me look at other news. Big development in ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF has started the process, the legal process of extending Mnangagwa to term to 2030. So the legal process is now underway. They are going to be going through the districts to gain the support. And I think they are getting ready either for a referendum or for support against mass action. So they are going into their district structures and they're talking to people. So Harare has already started. There was a meeting in Begbridge on Sunday. And during that meeting, the Machiavellian structures have also started mobilizing for Mnangagwa to go to 2030. So this is now in process. It's now in progress. And Chiwenga is next in line. So this is a confrontation between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga. Because if you're next in line and the guy before you is refusing to leave, it means you'll probably not be president. What is Chiwenga going to do? It's very, very important for us to watch Chiwenga's next move. People can say a lot, but the simple fact is that there's no one in ZANU-PF as powerful as Chiwenga, someone who can command the authority and someone who has openly opposed the ED 2030. There is no day that Chiwenga has ever said ED 2030. So he's the only man who can oppose ED 2030. And let's see what happens. I'm very curious to see how Chiwenga is going to deal with this situation. Because if he doesn't move, it's going to be a bad situation for him. He's going to end up without becoming the president. And you will notice that Mnangagwa has stopped announcing the changes that he had said was going to announce. So Mnangagwa was supposed to change his ministers. He has not made any changes. He has kept the same team that he was working with. The only changes that Mnangagwa has made are the changes in the police, in the intelligence, in the army, and also at CDF level here, where he extended the term of PV. So the other changes that Mnangagwa was supposed to make, he has not made them. So it's important to see what Mnangagwa does this week. This week, up to Sunday, we're expecting a very big move from Mnangagwa. I've said that if Mnangagwa doesn't move, then Chiwenga will remain strong. But I don't think this is enough. These changes that they've made are not enough. I expect to see massive changes taking place between now and Monday or between now and Sunday. I expect Mnangagwa to announce more changes because he's still in office. Mnangagwa is not left for leave. That means there is something cooking. He's doing something over there in his office. Very, very interesting what is going to happen. I expect Mnangagwa to elevate at least one of these people. That is his wife, Auxilia, or his sons. So if we're watching yesterday, you will see that as Chiwenga was speaking, there were these guys here. So I'm seeing one of the Mnangagwas here. So one or two of the Mnangagwas back here. So I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but I believe that Chiwenga is going to be closely watched, whatever he does. And I also believe that within the next week, if Mnangagwa is serious about consolidating and going to 2030, he's going to make a surprise appointment, either of Auxilia or of one of his sons. So that is very important. That movement has to be done. You can't go to ED 2030 without making some disruptive appointments. And I believe that Mnangagwa is going to make a disruptive appointment of one of his family members and change the upper structure of the government, because the government is not changed. And there are many Chiwenga loyalists within the ministers. There are many people who have openly supported Chiwenga within this group. So the current ministers, there are known people there who support Chiwenga, and I don't think that Mnangagwa is going to allow it. He's not going to allow these guys to stay here. You also see that Upam Chinguri has disappeared. So she is not near Mnangagwa. She's somewhere. I don't know what she's doing, but she's probably also in hiding. These guys tend to disappear when something big is just about to happen. And this whole team of Mnangagwa is not strong enough. This is a very weak team, and they won't be able to push through to ED 2030 if Mnangagwa wants to convince people that he wants to make a big change. So he's definitely going to make some changes. And I think I saw Mugwira moving around with Mnangagwa yesterday here. I don't have the actual picture of him, but I think if you look back here, you see Mugwira somewhere here. So those are the guys who are hanging around with Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa basing all his power and his power base in Masvingo. So the people from Masvingo are surrounding Mnangagwa and also basing his activities at Midlands, where Chiwenga has never been. So Chiwenga has got no base in Masvingo. He's got no base in Midlands. And currently, the best that Chiwenga had in Matriland is being eaten away. So they're eating away, they're going to the grassroots level and making sure that they take away the best that Chiwenga had built in Matriland. So a big move coming within this week, between now and Monday. I expect Mnangagwa to make a big move on Chiwenga before he becomes acting president. Right, I think I've covered that. Let us now look at regional news. In Botswana, something very bad is happening. So the president of Botswana is being accused of interfering with the judiciary after a very senior member of the judiciary made a statement during a ruling that President Dumaboko wants an end to corruption, and one of the former presidential advisors has been acquitted on appeal at the Supreme Court of Appeal, that is Kata Murupisi, after he cited a judgment or a statement in the judgment by the judge who said that the president wants an end to corruption. And this statement has plunged the judiciary of Botswana into a crisis, because a judge is not supposed to be talking about what a politician said while giving judgments. So that statement has been removed and Murupisi has been released from jail. So it's not like Zimbabwe, Botswana is not like Zimbabwe, a banana republic. So Zimbabwe is a banana republic. You can just say anything you want during a ruling. In Botswana, these things are taken very seriously. If a judge says President Dumaboko wants an end to corruption, that is an interference by the president in the judiciary, and that plunges the whole judiciary into a crisis. So currently the Botswana judiciary, they they are almost like clowns after that statement. Who talks about the president during a ruling? No one cares. It's not like you are the Chief Justice of Zimbabwe, who is supposed to be retired. So I don't know why someone would make such a statement. And this is, it's a crisis actually in Botswana, because people are now singing for their supper to the president. Crazy stuff happening in Botswana. And also, unfortunately, for President Zimabbwe, his name being dragged into such a bad situation. Then I want to go to Botswana again. There is a split of the earth taking place in Botswana. So let me see if I can find the picture here. So in Botswana, the ground is cracking in certain areas. And let me see if I can find that picture. If I can't find it, I'll find it for you tomorrow. That would be crazy if I don't find that picture. So there is an area of Botswana where there is a sudden break in the ground. And this is called Hatsa Lahladi. Right, so you can go check it out in the Botswana press. We've talked about the actual geographical changes taking place in Southern Africa, where it is said within some future period, South Africa is going to be split into parts. So this is the first time that we're seeing an actual cracking of the earth, and geographical studies have taken place here, or they're currently taking place. So you can go and Google this if you want to know more about what's happening here. You know also about the earthquakes taking place in Kariba, and the prediction about what is going to happen in the Victoria Falls. So this is all the same area, all the way up to the Zambezi. So very interesting that this is happening right now, which is the splitting of the land, or the cracking of the land. Whenever it rains, there is a crack, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And geographical studies are taking place to see what is going to happen here. Maybe Botswana will end up having two countries after all. Crazy stuff. And then let's go to Zimbabwe. I want to end with what's happening at Shashe River. Fishes have started dying after pollution. So cyanide has been dumped into Shashe River. You know that that Zimbabwe has faced the same situation in Manyame, or in in Lake Chivero, where fishes died, and there's cyanide in Harare, where all the water that they are drinking is full of cyanide. The second river is facing the same situation, that is Shashe River. Fishes are dying, there is cyanide in the river. Do not drink any water from Zimbabwe. Do not bath in it, don't cook with it. It's full of cyanide, because people are pouring cyanide as they do gold processing. If you're in Bulawayo, do not drink water. These guys who are doing gold panning are pouring cyanide, and the cyanide is finding its way into the rivers and into your drinking water. So do not drink water, drink bottled water, and filter your bathing water in your house. Because the cyanide in all these waters, fishes are dying. The fact that fish are dying, it means that things are getting worse. And do not be part of this whole thing. It's not a joke, guys. This is very, very serious. Then in terms of Adam Makov, I do not have an update. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the update and tell you what happened over there. I talked to the parties involved. That is Bani Kawai, and he said that he does not want to comment. But I've got evidence that it was Bani Kawai and members of the intelligence who framed Adam Makov, who was in jail over the weekend. So he was jailed over a car that was imported from South Africa. I've got evidence that this car was imported by the company. So it is not him who imported the car. It was imported by the company of Bani Kawai, and then they framed him as if he stole and imported the car, which is crazy and unbelievable and very shameful behavior. And ZIDA must intervene. People who invest in Zimbabwe must not be arrested and thrown in jail. Then in entertainment, Kiki has released her latest single or video. I don't know what's happening with Kiki. Kiki, I don't know, man. I don't want to say a lot. I don't want to talk about women. She normally phones me and gets mad if I say something. But you can go check it out. So that is Kiki, Zimbabwean musician. The Zimbabwean musicians are not releasing music. Very few pieces of music coming out. Most of them are living on live shows. So very crazy. And one video that I do here every morning has more views than most of the musicians of Zimbabwe. Crazy stuff and unbelievable. Then I want to go into community. So our sponsors, Move, right? This cup is a coffee cup metal. And what we're going to do is, starting tomorrow, we're going to have a pickup point in Harare. So the first 20 people to buy in Harare are going to get this cup. You just buy and then you WhatsApp me your proof of payment. And I'm going to make sure that you receive the cup before the end of the month. This cup is metallic. So it's metallic and it's got a lid. So it's metallic, it's got a lid. When you're drinking Mouvet, you must make sure that it sort of settles for about 5 minutes so that the nutrients can come out. And then, by the way, don't drink too quick. You burn. These things, they contain the heat for many, many hours. So be careful to the guys who are going to get the cup. So the first 20 people will get the cup if you pick up in Harare. Then, obviously, we're going to be... I want you guys to know how important and how powerful this herb is. Guys with high blood pressure, guys with high sugar levels, they're coming to me and saying, Gambakwe, my sugar levels are not normal. Gambakwe, my blood pressure is not normal. This is a very powerful herb. I don't know why people didn't know about it, but very, very powerful herb. That is Mve. Very powerful. 1 liter engine, 10 to 3 liter engine, 1 kickstart. And you don't have to crank it. That last part, I'm going to remove it, guys. It's too much. It's too much. Because some guys are having to crank it. You need the cups in Blawayo. Yes, I'll make sure that everyone gets. Ngoma Thomas, yes, it's on the way. I've sorted out your order. And Gambakwe, let's forget about Chiwenga. He is a foolish man. He takes a huge risk leading a coup only to give that power to a person who had ran away, a coward in vain, hopes to pass down the crown. I don't know. I think the army will eventually intervene. Mnona, that guy called Fokwila, is Chawango of Mozambique. Mngoma Silas, call me. I want to talk to you. Because I'm finding it very difficult to follow the Portuguese news. So please call me. Good morning, Mngoma Dumsani, and good morning to everybody. Now let's look at the newspapers. I want to look at the H Metro newspaper. So what has happened in Zimbabwe is that there is massive robberies taking place. They've started at Mukuru branches. So Mukuru is losing money, and this guy here has pleaded guilty. So I'm going to show you the guy here. So Mkoma Wangu Sharuko doing very well with his team. Lalatro, you guys are doing a great job. Can newspaper aka ZANU kaenda kacha pisa. ZANU is the only thing standing between success and Zim papers. ZANU yaora Mnangagwa arkuraya vanhu nenzara. So this guy is responsible for all the robberies taking place. Mukuru has lost over $20,000 last week or in the recent past through people who come outside the Mukuru booths. They wait for money to pile up and then they go and collect it. So they steal it at gunpoint. And this guy is going to plead guilty. And if you go to H Metro newspaper, you're going to get all the details of these guys, who they are. Only one guy has been caught. And let's see if there's any other story of interest here. I'm going to be looking. Nadia Nakai, I think this news is huge. Another story is that the ZIFA chair, so the person who's going to take over as ZIFA chairman is going to be earning $50,000 a year. That is money that CAF is going to give them. The vice chairman is going to get $20,000. So amazing amount of money just coming into someone's pockets. Starting as soon as they get elected, CAF will be giving money to that person. Then let's look at the Chronicle newspaper. I'm going to end with the Chronicle newspaper so that I see if there's anything of interest over there. As I said, tomorrow, the most important day, as Mozambique is going to be inaugurating the president. The strike already started yesterday, and the whole of Maputo, no one is moving. The train derailed. So yesterday, the train derailed. So someone went and put Kachinu per train, and it derailed. Venanzo Mondlane is amazingly popular. People love him, and they do all sorts of things in support of Venanzo. Even if he says don't do violence, people still do violence. So I'm expecting a massive day tomorrow. All the taxis were not moving. And as I said, the train is so important for Mozambique. Mozambique uses the train for moving people around. Right, let's look at important news here in the Chronicle newspaper. Chief Justice Luke Manaba greets judges during the official opening of the 2025 legal year in Bulawayo. Yeah, Chief Malaba, he's been around for a long time. Then Justice David Mangota, a Bulawayo top judge, is retired. Mdara, I hope Magapo Amunda, Mdara Mangota, I hope you got a farm. Otherwise, Pagaipa. And then here we've got all the justices of Zimbabwe here at the top here. So that's Chief Justice Luke Malaba, flanked by judges Justice Mary Dube and Senior Judge Justice Munamato Mutevezi, with other legal practitioners in attendance. So the Law Society of Zimbabwe is a joke. The Law Society of Zimbabwe is a joke. I wrote them a letter last year and they haven't replied. I don't take them seriously. I saw the lady speaking there. I wrote them a letter of complaint last year and they just kept quiet. So the justice system is not just bad or wrong at the lower level. The Law Society itself is a problem. You saw what I just told you about what's happening in Botswana. The administration of justice in our country is wrong at all levels. Being a lawyer right now is a circus in our country because of what's happening here. The judiciary has been compromised, including the stealing of papers, court papers, the disappearing of cases, the making of rulings in the wrong court, and court clerks just doing what they like. So Justice Malaba, Chief Justice Malaba has got a big job, but the Law Society and the actual lawyers, including fake lawyers and the deregistered lawyers, massive problems in Zimbabwe's judiciary and also in the legal profession of Zimbabwe. What a sad period we're in right now because of the lawyers of Zimbabwe. Then we've got Bulawayo Gears for the Misters of Zimbabwe audition. You can go check it out, Misters of Zimbabwe audition. Right, so I think I've covered everything in South Africa. Let's see what is in South Africa before I go. Otherwise, Mnozoti Gavaku didn't tell us. In South Africa, there has been the release of the matric results. So matric is like Form 5. For Zimbabwe, that's what we call Form 5. That is the last grade in South Africa. The pass rate there is 87%, the biggest pass rate ever in the history of South Africa has been achieved. And unfortunately, kids are not studying maths. So kids are avoiding maths. Only 225 kids studied maths this year. It's crazy. A whole country like South Africa has got only 225,000 kids who studied mathematics or STEM. So look at that. 87.3% the biggest pastorate in the history of South Africa since 1994. And I think that is all. Sorry for the fast scrolling there. I know which one wanted at Zungu. If I move this fast. So these are the actual results. They publish the results here in the paper. So if your child went to South African school, you can go here. You can also see the results of your friends, the one that passed and failed. So let's see. Obviously, they only show the ones that passed because that would be crazy if they showed. So it's so tiny. I don't know how they expect someone to read this thing. Maybe they're trying to avoid people seeing who passed and who failed over there. Right. So let's recap. We said Chiwenga is back. Yesterday, Chiwenga had his own meeting in Marondera, where he was at a funeral, and Mnangagwa was at State House, while Mohadi was on oxygen at home. And this is what Chiwenga said.
Akangari munhu vaibatsira vachiita zvinhu zvaunoona kuti uhu ndo unonzi hunhu. Vashoma vari muhwedza umu kana vari munharaunda dzino vasina kuya kuzosgotenga mombe pano even dzekuti vagochengeta vagoitawo matanga avo. Saka tinoti akanga ari munhu wevanhu. Ndosaka tichimuti sekuru kune magamba asiri gamba rekwedu.
Mudhara mukatadza kuita zvinhu apa munoitwa gamba. Mudhara Chiwenga vanoitwa gamba vakatadza kumuvha. That is what the consensus, that if Chiwenga doesn't move, they will move on him, and they'll move on him very fast. It's not possible for Mnangagwa to go to 2030 without dealing with Chiwenga. He has to deal with him, and it won't be easy. It will be a fast and final move that will be made on Chiwenga. And do not think Mnangagwa is going to stay there and leave Chiwenga as vice president or as he goes into 2030. That's not going to happen. Mnangagwa is not going to have that threat hanging over him up to 2030. So the next week is critical. Let's see what happens. And very, very important week. We are all watching what happens. But tomorrow, critical day in Mozambique, we're watching Sadak, we're watching Venanzo Mondlane, watching Frelimo. What will happen in Mozambique tomorrow as the country is on the verge of a massive crisis? Thank you very much, everyone, for watching.